Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube or my blog or whatever you're seeing this on, maybe my Insta. So if you don't know, now you know. I am 3 months pregnant. I am actually 3 months and 2 days pregnant, and this is actually my 4th pregnancy. So a lot of you know that I have one kid. She is the most amazing bubble and person and princess in the world. Like, she's literally a duchess, a queen, like what have you. She runs things in our household. She's so smart, she's so sweet, she's so kind and precious, and I literally love her with all my heart. And when we got pregnant with her, we weren't trying, it was unexpected, it was unplanned, and it was just like walking on clouds. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. I was doing cartwheels while like 7 months pregnant. I didn't even show until I was almost 7 months pregnant. So like, I didn't tell people I was pregnant till I was 4 months. And they looked at me like I was crazy. They laughed at me. They thought I was playing a joke because my stomach was literally like as flat could get. I did not show. I did not feel anything. In my entire pregnancy with my first baby, I threw up twice. I felt great. I worked my entire pregnancy. I worked up until the Friday before I had her. Friday, I left work a little early, went to my doctor's appointment. I was like, this baby's coming this weekend. They wrote me a note so that I was supposed to work the next week too. They're like, well, you don't have to go to work anymore. And I was like, all right, if I don't have to go to work anymore, the baby's definitely coming this weekend. And Saturday, I ran all the last minute errands I had to do. I wanted to clean my house, like do a deep clean, so when the baby came home, like there was no dust anywhere. And I was like so tired because me and my fiance at the time were running around all day Saturday. And I was like, we'll just clean tomorrow. 9 o'clock hits and it was like 7 p.m. and I like feasted. Like I ate like I never ate before. Then like 8 o'clock, I was like, I need to take a walk. So I took a walk up and down my street with my dog. Then after that, every hour, like literally on the hour, I had to pee. And then at 2 a.m., I woke up to pee, could not fall back asleep. 3 a.m., I'm like, okay, let me try to go to pee one more time. Maybe I just like need to pee a little bit more and then I'll be able to fall back asleep. When you're 9 months pregnant, you can't just get out of bed. So like you have to I just kicked the table. You have to like kick and roll. like you have to get some momentum behind it. So I kicked and rolled, and then I was like sitting on the edge of the bed. I went to stand, and as I went to stand, there was literally like a pop, and I was like, what? And then I stood up, and water just was like gushing out of me, and I like tried to run away from it. Like, I don't know, like I was like, this can't be happening. Although like for 9 months I was pregnant, so obviously it was happening. And like we had a little area rug, a Ninja Turtle area rug, because anyone who knows my my partner knows that he's obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. So ran across the carpet, and there was just baby, I don't know what comes out of you, baby water, juices, I don't know what you call it. I'll figure out the medical term. Anyway, it was flowing out and it was all over the carpet. It was clear. And I woke my fiance up and I was like, babe, it's happening. And he was like, no, he was, he was a little mad. not mad, but he was a little disappointed because at the time he was going to school in his senior year, and he was, so actually by the time we had her, he had just graduated. So he just finished school, but the last couple months of my pregnancy were rough for him because he was in school and he was working. He was originally working 3 jobs, then he quit one. So that night, I believe it was 2 jobs. And so he would do his like day job in the day, and then he had an overnight job that was like his main source of income. And Saturday into Sunday was his first night off in forever, like forever ever. And like he was so excited because he was gonna take paternal leave, and this was the first night of his paternal leave. And Friday into Saturday, remember we ran errands all day Saturday. So Friday into Saturday, he worked the overnight. So he came straight off an overnight, came home, and then we were out like busy all day long. So he was, when it was time for bed Saturday night, he was like, I just need one night of sleep before this baby comes. And I was like, psych, get up, we gotta go. That's actually not what happened. So I woke him up, I was like, my water broke. He was like, how do you know it's your water? You probably peed. Like, I was like, no, my water broke, I know. And so I called my doctor, because you're supposed to call. They're like, how do you know it's your water? This is your first time pregnant? And I was like, listen, I've been very in tune with my body this whole pregnancy. This was my water. They're like, it probably wasn't. It's 3 a.m. We're kind of busy. It's going to be a long day if this was actually your water breaking. If you don't have contractions, go back to bed, sleep. When you wake up in the morning, give us a call. Then I called my mom. My mom was like, absolutely the hell not. Like, I don't think she said hell because she doesn't curse, but she's like, absolutely not. She was like, get up and come to my house. So I lived an hour away from the hospital I planned to deliver at. My mom lives 10 minutes away from maybe 12, about 10 minutes away from the hospital I was gonna deliver at. So my mom was like, don't you dare go back to bed. She was like, get up. And then I was like, the doctor said to go back to bed. I'm just gonna relax. I'll let you know what happens. I'm not having contractions, or at least I didn't think I was having contractions. Then I called my dad. I let my dad know. I was like, I'm gonna lay back down. My dad was like, I don't think you should lay back down. And then my mom called me again. My mom was like calling down my phone, texting me, ready to go. And then I was like, well, I don't think I'm having contractions. But I looked down and my stomach was like tightening and loosening. Like, I could not feel it, but my stomach was like doing little like it would tighten and loosen. And so I was like, let me call the doctor back. So I called my doctor back and I was like, I don't think I'm having contractions, but this is what's happening. She's like, well, that's a contraction. And she's like, well, you need to time them out. So at first they were a little bit apart, and then it was like 7 minutes, then it was like 5 minutes, then it was like 3 minutes, but then and then my mom was like, get here, and then it stopped. Or I don't know if it hit 3 minutes, but it like progressively, really quickly, between 3 and like 3:45 a.m. got closer together, enough to scare my mom, but not enough to scare the doctors. So I was like, okay. So at this point, I wake up my fiance. I'm like, let's go. I get in the shower because I remember my dad's wife had told me, she was like, you're not going to be able to take a good shower again for a couple days after you have the baby. Like, things are going to be sore. Things are going to be, you don't know how things are going to be. So she's like, if your water breaks and you have a chance, take a shower. So got in the shower, took a nice shower. Tom's like, get out the shower, we gotta go. So then I'm like, okay, just let me. And then I get dressed. We're going out the door. As I go to walk out the door, remember it's like still dark outside because it's the middle of the night. I open my front door, a bat flies in my face. I'm lucky I didn't fall over and hit the ground. Apparently bats like to sleep on my porch in the middle of the night. Anyway, this story is taking way longer. You probably did not need to know all this information. Fast forward, I had a baby. I had a baby by 1:36 precisely in the afternoon that day. She came by C-section. When my contractions did not hurt at all until around 11 a.m. Like they were like flowers, like rose. Like I was like, I could do this all day. Like people complain about contractions, what? And then 11 a.m. hit, and it literally felt like a semi truck ran me over, backed up and ran me. Like I was crying. It came out of nowhere. It was like crazy. And then my heart rate dropped. Originally, my plan was to not use any medicine. Once the pain came in, I was like, give me. At first, I took some other medicine. It didn't. I was like, you need to give me more. They were like, we gave you as much as we, like, I think legally can at the moment. I was like, give me the epidural. One thing to keep in mind, if you are a first-time mom, sometimes your heart rate might drop when you have the epidural. So they gave me the epidural, and instantly, the first complication of my pregnancy was at the very last, like at the finish line. My heart rate dropped. The baby's heart rate dropped. Her heart rate was dropped to 40, and it was not coming back up, like at all. And this was like closer to 1 that happened. And then they're like, my midwife looked at me and she's like, so we need to talk about C-sections. And I was like, what do you want to talk about? She's like, you have to have a C-section. And I was like, well, you just gave me the epidural. Can we wait and like try to let my body adjust to it so I can actually push and do this naturally in the bathtub with the lights dim and some Zen music playing like I had planned, because I had like this super peaceful, like birth plan. And she was like, absolutely not. You need to have a C-section now. And I was just crying and crying and crying because I was like, I don't want to be cut in half. And then my dad walked in and he was like, do you want to have this baby or not? Toughen up. And I was like, okay. He was like, all right then. And he gave me a hug. I think he gave me a kiss. And then I was off to have a C-section. I had a beautiful 5.5 pound baby. Didn't know the sex of the baby until she was born. So now we're at 13 minutes. I did not expect to be this long-winded. I've lost my way. So yes, fast forward. That was in 2018. 2019 was great. Quit my job. Decided to be a stay-at-home mom, which went against everything. Like originally before Nala, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I always knew I wanted to spend time with my kids. And so I wasn't planning on having kids anytime soon because I was like, you know, I want this much money in the bank. I want this asset. I want this before I have kids. That way I'll be comfortable and I'll be able to be home 24/7 comfortably. But you know, sometimes comfortability isn't where you need to be. Like sometimes if you're too comfortable, you don't grow. And so I realized like halfway through 2019 I was not happy going to work, had to leave my job. You guys know this, unless it's someone new. So I left my job because I was like, there's always going to be someone here to do this busy work that I'm doing at this point. It was important work, but it was busy work. It was distracting me from, or keeping me away from like the first crawl. Like my mom like was, I believe, the person who got Nala to crawl, like by giving her oranges and moving it around. And Nala like tried to do certain things with me, but like my mom was the one babysitting her, and there was just certain things where I was like, that should be me. And I got 6 months off of my job, went back to work for 2 months, and then quit. So like, it was not like I worked a long time. I was very, very present. And my job was great for giving me 6 months of maternity leave. But I was just like, I need to be there for everything. So I left, had a great year, had a great next year. Fast forward, pandemic. Towards the end of the first year of the pandemic, we found out we were expecting. And at this point, we knew we wanted more kids. It wasn't like we weren't trying. We were like, let's go, whatever happens, happens at this point. And we had a lot of fun. Got pregnant, and a couple weeks later had a miscarriage, which was devastating. I never even got to go to my first prenatal appointment. I did not understand what was happening. I was very, very upset, especially because it was like, I kept comparing my pregnancies. Like with my first pregnancy, I was not trying. I wasn't planning, I wasn't expecting, I wasn't prepared, like expecting to have a baby. I wasn't prepared mentally. That like, I mentally thought I was prepared. God knew I was prepared, but I didn't think I was there. Where with this time around, in the first year of the pandemic of 2020, I thought I was ready. We were prepared. We wanted this, like, so it was just like really like shattering when I woke up one day. Like, the miscarriage happened at exactly 6 weeks, and like 2 days before it happened, I was having these cramps, and I was like, this is not normal. Like, I did not have any cramps with Nala until like the end of my, literally like till the day I was delivering. So I was like, this is just not normal. This is weird. And I believe I called my doctor. They're like, oh, it's fine, whatever. Then like 2 days later, I can't sleep. I'm tossing and turning all night. I get up. It's like 7 a.m. By this time, my fiance has already left for work. And because he would leave for work at like 5 a.m. So he's already out the door. My daughter's sleeping. I'm like, let me try to go pee, and then maybe I'll be able to sleep better. So I get up, go to the bathroom, and there's just blood, just lots of blood coming. And so I call my doctor. They're like, there's nothing you can do. They're like, you just have to lay down. Just lay down, relax. It might be something, it might be nothing. They're like, we really can't tell. You just have to just take it easy. And then as the day progresses, more and more blood starts coming. So by like 4 p.m., my sister-in-law, my partner's sister, made it to my house, and I was able to leave my daughter with her and go to the ER. And they're like, well, we can tell you you're pregnant, but we can't tell you anything else. Like, there was no one could confirm what was happening to my body, which was like the worst part about it. Because I was like, this is not normal. I've been pregnant before, and my first pregnancy was literally like walking on cloud nine. Like everything smelled great, everything tasted great. I got to eat and eat and eat and eat, and like nothing ever hurt, nothing was ever wrong. I was like, this feels wrong. And they're like, well, you're pregnant, congrats. And I was like, I know I'm pregnant. I peed on a stick weeks ago. I need you guys to tell me something more. And they're like, we can't tell you anything more yet. And the ultrasound tech had just left. And so they were like, we also can't give you an ultrasound today, because the ER in my town is like a small ER, which is why I drive so far to have my babies. And so they're like, take it easy. So this is now the second doctor that's told me to take it easy. And they're like, all you can do is go to like Kingston or Rhinebeck or like another hospital and have them do an ultrasound for you. So I'm like, okay. So I go home, take a shower, bawl in the shower, lay down for the rest of the day, because I'm like, maybe I need to listen. Maybe I just need to lay down and not move and just relax my mind. The blood is still coming though. And before I get out the shower, this whole like clot comes out, and you can see that this was, I don't even know what you would call it, like an embryo or whatever. Like it was not not like a regular blood clot. Like we're all women, we all get our periods. It wasn't a regular blood clot. It was like, it was red, it was kind of veiny, you could poke it, it was not breaking. I picked it up and I knew this was my baby. Like I just lost my baby. Like it was like this big, or maybe a little bit smaller, and I knew that was my baby. And so I put it in a container. I took a picture, and at that point I was like, I lost my baby. Like there's nothing I can do. I'm still obviously gonna go to the ER the next day, but I just wanted to lay down. I cried. It was sad. It was a little traumatizing, and it's not something if I could prevent that from happening to another mom, I absolutely could, but I know God has his own plans, and I can't control what happens, and it sucks when people say it, but everything does happen for a reason. So it just sucked. I don't think I left, so anyway, put it in a container. Next day I go to the ER, they do the ultrasound, they don't see anything. They take a pregnancy test. My HCG levels have drastically gone down. So it's still showing I'm pregnant, but it's declined drastically from what it was the day before, which means I'm losing the baby. And I was like, I already lost this baby. Like you guys are just at this point confirming what I was trying to tell you before. So it was just sad. I cried, my partner cried, and it was just a tough spot to be in for a couple weeks. But we still had a daughter to take care of. We still have a household to run. he still had work. We still had a lot of stuff going on. So although like it was sad, it was hard, it was something I didn't understand, we still had to like do the stuff we needed to do. Then a couple months go by, like 2 months go by, or 2.5 months. It wasn't that much time in between. I find out I'm pregnant again. So now I'm super excited because I'm like, okay, like I did just lose a baby, but I'm not gonna lose this one. Like this is a blessing. This is amazing. This is just awesome. And like one thing that was hard was like with the second pregnancy, I started a blog. I was like taking these pictures. I was like, I'm gonna document every step of this, because I do have a motherhood blog. So I was like, I want to document this whole thing, because also with Nala, I wasn't home. I worked my entire pregnancy. I was so busy that part of me felt like I missed my pregnancy. Like, you know, when you're just going, and then you're like, oh, like I didn't even get to enjoy like being off work. Like she came as soon as like I was done with work. So I felt like I missed that pregnancy. So I wanted to document everything in my second pregnancy. And it was like, psych. So anyway, the third pregnancy, I'm like, okay, like mental game on strong. Like think positive thoughts. You got this, mama. Like you're a great mom. Like you just nourish your body. You got this. And I was like, what's a way to, again, document this pregnancy so I can remember everything about it, but like make it a little different than how I was gonna document the second pregnancy. So I was like, okay, I'll dance every day. Like that way I'm getting my exercise, because again, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm not going to the gym. Not that I was before. I was a couple of years ago, but anyway. So I'm like, it's a way to incorporate exercise into my pregnancy, and it's fun. I love dancing. My daughter loves dancing, so it's a way I can bond with her, bond with this child, exercise, and document my pregnancy. Like it checked all the boxes for me. So I found out I was pregnant, started documenting every day with the dance. And then I remember like the last dance I did that day was like a really fun dance, but it was like kind of hard to dance that day. And they weren't like crazy dances. It was like short little 60-second dances, like TikTok dances. And so it's like arm thing. It's not crazy. But again, like I said, with my first pregnancy, I did cartwheels with Nala. So that last dance was hard. And then the next day, the night into the 6-week mark, again, I could not sleep. And it was frustrating because I knew that I lost the second baby at the 6-week mark. And so the 6-week mark was taunting me to begin with. And then when I could not sleep all night, it was, again, hard. Then I woke up. Again, I was bleeding, peeing. Like, so at this point, I'm like, fuck it. Like, this is happening again on the same exact day. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm not meant to be a mom of multiple kids. Like, maybe I just, I got one blessing. Maybe that's enough for me. So again, my partner leaves at 5 in the morning. So by the time I woke up to pee and do all this, he was gone. So again, I have to call him with this terrible message. I let my mom know what's going on. And she rushes to my house, sits with me, like she makes me breakfast, and there's nothing you can do. You just sit through it. But this time there was no like distinguishing clot or anything like that. It just, there was nothing that like confirmed it for me. And they didn't ask me to come into the hospital. So the way I knew, because again, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I think like cases were up or something. So like they did a video, I did like a telemed call with my doctor, and she was just like, take it easy. And so I was taking pregnancy tests every morning, and you could see, I should have maybe taken a picture, but it's not something like you want to look back on and remember, but like you could see like each day the pregnancy confirmation line getting lighter and lighter and lighter until like almost a week and a half later, it just wasn't there anymore. Or maybe it wasn't a week and a half, maybe it was just a week. But anyway, the line progressively got lighter. The blood stopped coming. I knew I wasn't pregnant anymore. And again, this sucked. This really sucked, because now this is the second time that I've gotten really excited in a short amount of time and lost a baby. And it happened again at the 6-week mark. So now I'm like, is there something wrong with my body where I can't grow a baby past 6 weeks? Like, obviously I can conceive. But maybe there's like something wrong with my body. Fast forward 6 months later, right? Yeah, 6 months later. I'm in Disney. I'm getting emotional every day over food. If it's not the food I want or I want to hear, I was giving my partner an attitude about what we were eating for dinner, when we were waiting for food, because right now, if you've gone to Disney during the pandemic, a lot of places you can't just walk into and eat. You have to order your food on the app, the Disney app first, and then you can go pick it up, and then you can sit down and stuff. So I was just getting so frustrated with like the wait time for food, and it like wasn't even my partner's fault, because like he would have the apps up and ready to go, but I would just automatically get annoyed. I love wine. I do like a good drink. I did not finish any of my drinks. Like, I did not want the hard seltzers. Did not, like, I would open them and then they just sat there all night. Like, I think I finished one drink at Disney, and it was like it was a chai whiskey. It was really good. But everything else I took a sip of, and I was like, oh, I'm good. Like, it was weird. And then the last day I was I just felt off. And then we drove home. We drove to Disney. So we drove from Florida all the way back home to New York. And I was just like, I feel like I'm pregnant, like I know I'm pregnant, but it was weird because obviously I'm like keeping track of when I'm ovulating, when I have my period. So, and it like, we still want extra children. So if I'm being honest, I had taken a pregnancy test. I took a pregnancy test every month after my miscarriages, because I didn't want to chance being pregnant and me doing something to cause the loss. And so I was being very cautious. So I would always like make sure the pregnancy test was negative before like taking a drink or like going. So before Disney, I did take a pregnancy test. It said negative. So I went on every roller coaster I could get on. I did try to enjoy drinks, tried to enjoy food, but like I was getting emotional. So on the way back home to New York from Florida, I was like, I think there's a baby inside of me. Like there's another soul inside of me. Because that's the only way to explain like my emotion, explain like my taste, crazy, and all this. So if you've ever taken the drive, and remember we have a toddler in the backseat who was honestly extremely good for being in the car for so long. But it's like a 17-hour drive back to my house. We left Florida at 12 in the afternoon. And I believe we got home at like 6 in the morning. It was like extremely early in the morning the next day. And I got home and the first thing I made a beeline to the bathroom. My partner did our dogs. I'm in the bathroom. I pee on a stick, no, it wasn't a stick. I pee on one of those, they make the sticks and then they make like the little papers that you can stick in pee. And so I don't even think I stuck it in pee. I think I did it the wrong way. I think I literally, like, I didn't have time. I had a full bladder. I had to pee. And that's another thing. Like, on the way to Disney, I felt bad because at one point I went with my mom and some of my siblings and my mom's husband. And, like, they're following us at one point. And I kept having to stop to pee. And it was funny because I was the one who was like, I should be the one driving because, you know, when I get on the road, I do not have to stop. I will literally block off, hold it until we get to the destination. And I kept having to pull over. I was peeing on the side of the roads, on the side of buildings, like on the side of like a garbage can at one point. Like, I could not hold it for anything. Like, people might have saw my butt because I was jumping out of the car and peeing everywhere. And that was on the way to Disney. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. Like I'm getting into my late 20s. I have 3 years until I hit 30. So maybe this is just the older Janae. Like she can't hold her pee anymore. So it didn't click then. On the drive home, I was like, the excessive peeing, the hungry, the emotions, there's a soul. I pee on the little flimsy piece of paper. Immediately, there's like, normally you have to wait 3 to 5. It turned immediately. It was like, girl, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh, this explains everything. And I was like, babe, this explains everything. And he was like, okay. So that was exciting. So this is our 4th pregnancy. I did not expect this video to be so long. If you are still here, thank you for hanging out with us. So yes, this is our 4th pregnancy. Will be our second baby. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I am 3 months and 2 days pregnant, which means I have passed the horrific 6-week mark that was like taunting me for 2 pregnancies and taunted me a little bit throughout this pregnancy. But one thing I do want to say is like, you can't live in fear. And so I do believe in what I was saying was you can't live in fear. If you know me, if you follow my blog, you should know by now that I do believe in God. I do believe in Christ. And I do know that there's nothing to fear in this world at all. The only thing you should fear is to live a life without God in it, without the presence of God. And so when people say there's nothing to fear but God themselves, I believe they're saying there's nothing to fear but fear the absence of God. So fear not having God in your life. And so found out I was pregnant. Again, I was like, this is a blessing. This is a divine blessing. This baby is a powerful baby because they're already affecting my aura and how I carry myself and how And so I was like, obviously I know I went through 2 miscarriages within the past year, but that has no effect on who this child is. It's funny because I also wrote a pregnancy affirmations book. It's on Amazon. It's literally called Affirmations for Pregnancy by Janae Savaglio. You can look it up. I don't advise that you purchase the actual book. I think it's better the audiobook version to just put it on and listen to and repeat. But yeah, so I've made this book, this audiobook, and I have all these affirmations. And so immediately my mind went to like positive place. Like, okay, this happened. This is in the past. We know now it's a possibility. Because again, with Nala, like nothing was planned. I was like in Lula land. I did not know anything about pregnancy complications. Now we know, okay, TTC is a thing. Like, it doesn't come easy for people. And we know that miscarriage is actually quite common. So common that it used to be believed that 1 in 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage. Now it's 1 in 2. And it's 1 in 2 now because unless you are TTCing, trying to conceive, you usually don't know originally that you're having a miscarriage. So a lot of women have had miscarriages and don't even know because they're not trying to conceive. So they're not paying attention to the pregnancy test and all that. So I'm like, okay, 1 in 4. This is my 4th pregnancy. This one's sticking. This is my little sticky. And so I was like, God, if it's your will, this baby will grow and be every morning I say, thank you for letting this be a healthy baby, a happy baby, a God-fearing baby. God-fearing as in this child like wants God in their life. Thank you for letting this baby like be a vessel of light and shine their light on the world. And then thank you for letting this baby be fully developed and full term. I used to only say full term. And it's funny because this prayer has changed. So originally with Nala, every day on the way to work, I would repeat it over and over. And it was just 3 things: healthy, happy, God-fearing, the N. After my 2 miscarriages, it became healthy, happy, God-fearing, full term. With this baby, it is now healthy, happy, God-fearing, full term, and fully developed. So let me tell you about this pregnancy. I've passed my 6-week mark. And you may be wondering why I'm saying fully developed. And although I'm smiling, this is after a lot of tears, a lot of emotion, a lot of prayer, and a lot of like challenging my mental state, and saying, okay, coaching myself, giving myself pep talks and saying, okay, this thought does not serve you or the baby. Let's let it go and move on because this is not helping the situation. So we got what week am I in? I don't even know what week I'm in. 3 months is 12 weeks. So at 8 weeks, I believe, I had my first prenatal appointment. And I'm like, I don't, like, this is your first time pregnant, they don't just go in and give you an ultrasound. They tell you to come in so they can confirm you're pregnant, because sometimes you're not, which sucks. Sometimes it's like there could be something else going on that's tricking your body into thinking you're pregnant. But I was like, I knew I was pregnant. So I was like, can we just skip this step and go straight to the ultrasound, which is usually the second visit or the third visit. I was like, I don't need you to tell me I'm pregnant. It's my 4th rodeo. I know I'm pregnant. Like, my body knows. Like, just show me the baby. Show me the ultrasound. She's like, nope, sorry. So she did a pregnancy test. She was like, congrats, you're pregnant. I was like, I know, I'm pregnant. And so the ultrasound happened 2 days later. And I go in. So for this pregnancy, they have me driving all over the place because of the insurance I have is through the Army. And so a lot of places that are like closer to the city-ish area are in network rather than like places more country or suburb, whatever you call it. So more local places are not normally in network. So anywho's, my doctor's office is in one place. They don't do ultrasounds there unless it's an emergency. So I have to drive. I thought I was gonna get to go 2 minutes away from my house, but they're no longer in network. So I have to drive 30 minutes away from my house, which is actually an hour like south of where my doctor is, to get this ultrasound. I go in and the ultrasound tech is like, oh, this baby is, at that point it was like, no, I had my first appointment at 10 weeks, I think. I was not 8 weeks, I was 10 weeks. So she's like, oh, this baby is 10 weeks. She's like, but this baby looks huge. And she's like, but this is the new machine. So maybe it's just the machine. Maybe that's why I'm seeing things so clearly. Anyway, she's like, your baby's so cute. Baby's in there dancing and doing the little feet thing. And so I feel blessed. I feel good at this point. I am happy. All I wanted to do is hear my baby's heartbeat, see my baby moving. At the first appointment, when they do confirm your pregnancy, they usually do tests for the heartbeat, but usually a lot of times you can't hear the heartbeat because it's so early. So of course I couldn't hear the heartbeat. So at this appointment when I was 10 weeks, she was able to show me the baby. She was able to hear the heartbeat. Heartbeat was 160. So I'm like, this is amazing news. That's all I needed to hear. I'm on cloud 110, like the highest cloud you can be on. Next morning, I have a missed call from my doctor. So I'm like, okay, she obviously got the results. She's calling to tell me, to confirm that, you are as pregnant as you think you are. Congrats. So I call her back and she's like, yep, you're as pregnant as you think you are. And then she's like, but, and anytime there's a but, ... it's usually not so good. So she's like, but the nuchal fold is a lot, she said, the nuchal fold seems larger than it should be for this point in your pregnancy. I'm like, what the fuck is a nuchal fold? Like, what are you saying, lady? She's like, nuchal fold is like the back of the neck, or what should turn into the back of the neck. It looks bigger in the information that was sent over to me than it should be. So I went ahead and scheduled you an appointment with a specialist in Poughkeepsie. So she's in Kingston. I had my ultrasound down in Middletown. Poughkeepsie's way over here, a whole nother hour away. She's like, you gotta be there next week. I'm like, okay, and what does this mean? Like, what, like, should I be scared? Like, obviously I shouldn't be scared, but like, what do I need to mentally start preparing myself for? She's like, well, this could be associated with Down syndrome. So I'm like, okay. She's like, do you have any questions? I'm like, okay. Like, obviously you can't answer anything. Like, I got to get more tests done. So like, even if I had questions at this point, everything we're talking about is hypothetical. I'll talk to you after this test, I guess. So the next week comes, I go, and at this point, this was last week, I believe. And the whole week I'm praying, and I'm like, I'm praying, I'm researching, I'm praying, I'm researching. And I'm like, the lady said it's a new machine. It could be a fluke. It could be this. It could be that. It could whatever. We get there, I lie on the table. The nuchal fold is still a lot larger. It's a whole millimeter larger than it should be. So I think the max it should be at this point in my pregnancy was like 2.5, but it was measuring 3.5, which was concerning to them. So me and my partner are shuffled into the next room to talk to a genetic counselor. And she's taking us through like every freaking possible disability or abnormality in our whole family tree. Like, we have to go through everyone in our family. If they have an extra mole, an extra finger, this, that, a mental disability, like everything that everyone had, we had to tell her. And she's like going down this list. And so she's like, okay, Down syndrome comes back up again. So trisomy 13, 18, or 21, I believe, are like the main concerns. And so there's like, your body has multiple chromosomes. I don't remember the exact number. I'll find it out for you. But there's 3 chromosomes that if there's like an extra or something like that, or one like missing, that it could cause one of those 3 things. So she's like, there's 3 tests you can do today, or you don't have to do any. But she was like, the only thing that these tests can do is shed some light on what's going on, and then that can help you make better decisions for the future. Like, it can't prevent anything. So I'm like, okay. With Nala, I didn't have any of these tests done. I was just like, you know what? I'm having a baby. I was like, there's nothing you can tell me that will change my mind. But like, there was also never a concern of anything. So with this baby, being that with my very first ultrasound, there's immediately concern off the back. I'm like, okay, so I need to do the responsible thing and get some testing done, because it's not going to change whether I have this baby or not, but it's going to allow me to, again, mentally prepare my house, my home, my heart for whatever I'm going to be dealing with for the next rest of my life. And so she goes over a couple different tests, like amino, I don't know the names of them. One of them is called a CVS test. And a CVS test is where they take a big old needle, stick it in your stomach, even though there's a baby in there. They take like a tube, like this, like it's like this circumference wise and like this lengthwise, big, of fluid from your placenta, and they test it, the baby cells, they test the cells to see stuff about the chromosome. So I'm like, okay, well, what's the risk? And the risk is like 1 in 400 people who have this done have a miscarriage. But again, there's nothing to fear but the absence of the Lord. So I'm like, we're going to do this, because if this baby is meant for me, regardless of what happens, this baby will be here. So we do the test. Like, I say yes, they shuffle me back into the room, the ultrasound room. They do the ultrasound at the same time they do the needles to make sure they're not nicking the baby or anything like that. And because they're doing the ultrasound and they don't want to nick the baby, they do the test a little slow. And the doctor said it's going to feel like a pinch. It hurt like a contraction. And so, yeah, so that's a $13,000 test. Thank God for insurance. So anyway, one of the tests that they run is called a fish test. So the overall test is a CVS test, and one of the many tests that they run under that is called a fish test. So for all of the results in the CVS test, it takes up to 10 days to get your results back. For the first portion of the test, the fish test, it takes 24 hours. So the next morning, so I get that test done. She's like, don't do anything for 24 hours. Like, just go lay down. Like, okay, good. The next morning, I get a call. There was not enough cells in the sample they took to run the fish test. So they're like, we're going to try to grow the cells overnight. I guess your cells can multiply by the day, and they'll run it again the next day. So that happens. The next afternoon, she calls me, the genetic counselor calls me, and she's like, so the baby tested negative for the preliminary test, because again, there's more detailed tests. Preliminary test tested negative for trisomy 13, 18, 21. Those are the immediate ones associated with Down syndrome. But there's still this big gap because she still has to test all the other chromosomes to see what else is going on. I have not gotten that phone call yet. Hopefully I get it today or tomorrow to know what is going on, if anything is going on. Now, I do want to say that call was very relieving for me, but there's nothing wrong with a baby with Down syndrome. So even if she called me and said the baby tested positive for one of these, the baby could possibly have Down syndrome, I would have still had my baby. I would have still loved my baby. I do have people in my family who have Down syndrome. They're the coolest people in the world. And so there would have been no love lost for this child. It would have just, I would have just had to mentally prepare for, I don't know, like how schooling would go, how certain things would go in my household, how, yeah, it's just, you prepare. And so regardless of whatever possibility she calls me with tomorrow, I'll still have lots of love for this baby. And although, again, it seems like I'm smiling, like nothing like is bothering me, like this was a very extremely hard past couple of days or 2 weeks for me. It was hard. It was scary. I did cry a lot randomly. But again, you have to like talk yourself through it. You have to coach yourself through it. Have to go to your Bible. You have to listen to praise music. You got to show up to church and just fill your spirit with positive stuff and allow God to just remind you that He has your back. And so anything that's coming your way, you are prepared for. So regardless of whether you're having a fully developed baby or a baby who might be missing one chromosome or have an extra chromosome of something else, they did also test for an extra sex chromosome, which came back negative. So the baby only has 2 chromosomes, and they told my mom the gender of the baby. I'm not gonna find out till the day I deliver, although I feel like it's a boy because a girl just would not put me through this much chaos. So I know it's a boy, and I'm gonna have some words with him when he comes out because mama don't play. But yes, whatever you're going through, congrats on your pregnancy, and just know that, you know, there's people here to support you. There's people in your circle who love you. There's people online who love you. I don't know you, but you know, I'm rooting for you, and I'm rooting for your child. And people are praying for you, even people you don't know. They're praying for you and your baby, and everything is going to be okay. It might not be the way you expect it to be. It might not be the way you want it to be, but it'll be. And that's what I'm holding on to, is the fact that not everything happens the way we expect it, but everything, the world keeps turning. And there's still so many blessings, and there's still so many things to be grateful for. And your future can still be bright regardless of what you're challenged with today. And so I am so excited. I just want to check the time, so I'll edit that out too. So yes, I am so excited. I don't know what I'm gonna get called with tomorrow, but I don't care what I'm called with tomorrow. I just know my baby has a strong, healthy heartbeat. My baby looks good. My baby feels good. And I'm happy. I'm excited to bring this baby into the world. Every day, Nala lays on my stomach and rubs my, she says scrubs. She says, Mommy, I want to scrub your baby. So she'll scrub my belly and she'll be like, I love you, baby. I love you. So this baby just has so much love waiting for them that it doesn't matter what the doctor tells me at this point. It's good for me to know, because again, if there's certain foods I need to buy, or if there's a certain way I have to set up my house, or like, because you know, some babies like need things with more colors in them, and some babies need like, if there's just certain things I have to be aware of, you should always be prepared. Never go into a situation blind. But again, it's not changing the way I feel about this baby. I'm excited. And I'm excited for you too. And so yeah, let's talk about symptoms now that we're probably an hour into this video that I thought was gonna be 10 minutes. So again, I am sorry, I'm a little stuffy. One thing I did forget to tell you about this past 2 weeks, probably 3 or 4 weeks, is at the same, like, my whole family went through COVID too. And so not only was I dealing with, okay, now my doctors are telling me this baby there's something wrong with my baby. This baby could possibly have Down syndrome. This baby might have COVID because I have COVID. Like, but then I was like, you know what? It's a good thing I have COVID. I never tested positive. Let me back up. My mom tested positive. Her results were never told to her until like a week and a half later. So during that week, I was all around her, kissing her, hugging her, sitting in her chair, like all the things. Then I got a sore throat. Then I got a runny nose. Then my partner came home from work, barely able to stand. And I was like, okay, and then Nala was randomly gagging. Like, this girl is never, ever sick. She's 3 years old. Before this, she was sick 3 times in her life, her entire life. So she's randomly sitting up and like, doing the gagging sound like she's about to throw up. So I'm like, I think we have COVID. So we get a rapid COVID test. And I didn't have them test Nala because the thing goes up your nose. She would have freaked out. But she sleeps in our bed. Like, she's up under me 24/7. So like, I know whatever I have, she has. We both get a rapid test. Sorry, I had a burp. if you're pregnant, you know you're super gassy. They come in the room, they say, you guys are negative, you guys probably just have a seasonal cold. We go out, grocery shopping, we go to the fair, we're all over the place. Even though we don't feel well, we're like, well, it's not COVID, and there's only a couple nice days left because it's fall. We live in New York, so it's gonna get cold soon. We're like, we're not stopping our plans. We're all over the place because we got the negative. Okay, so I've switched to my laptop because my phone just keeps cutting the video off. So anyway, so like 2 days go by, and my fiance's doctor, my partner's doctor, wants him to go to the ER because he has other health issues going on. She wants to make sure it's not something related to that issue. Because he's walking around with like the sunglasses. He's having trouble, like his eyes hurt, his everything hurts. For me, I'm still like hurting a little bit. Like I have slight headaches. I have a stuffy nose. There's no snot coming out, but I have a stuffy nose. I have a random cough. It's hard for me to breathe. But they said it wasn't COVID, so I'm toughing out whatever it is because it's not COVID, right? So we get to the ER. I'm not allowed to come in. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll wait in the car. It's a couple hours. He comes out. We go home. Later that night, they call. He has COVID, which means, and he had gotten sick from me. I was the only sick person he was around. Me and my daughter were the only people who he was around who had the slightest thing of anything going on. So, if he had COVID, that means that I must have got COVID from my mama, who didn't know she had COVID, who was only sleepy, and then brought it home and gave it to him. So I never got retested because I was like, for the one COVID test we had to pay out of pocket. It was $150. And I'm like, I'm not going back there to pay again to be told no when I know what's going on at this point. And I'm not gonna go into an ER where a whole bunch of people are sick and expose myself to whatever's in the ER for hours, just to be confirmed that I'm the one who gave him COVID when I'm I know. So anyway, our whole family was quarantined. But again, like I said, it was hard. It was a lot going on during those couple of days. But now that I'm basically over it, I lost my taste for 5 minutes, and then it came back. And then my smell, I had lost my smell for a couple days. It's pretty much back now. There's still some things that I randomly just can't smell or can't smell as good. But I can smell most things now. But yeah, so I'm looking at it now that I'm basically through the hard part of it as a blessing, because now this baby will have whatever antibodies or whatever. We will be more prepared. Nala now has the antibodies. I now have the Tom now. So we're all good. My whole family got it. We're all good. So I think I was going to tell you about symptoms before talking about COVID symptoms. So 3 months pregnant. What am I feeling? Feeling grateful to be here. Like I said, this pregnancy has been harder than Nala. So I'm a lot more winded than I was with Nala. And part of it could be like leftover COVID symptoms also though. My stomach is huge compared to what it was with Nala. Like at 4 months when I started telling people, nobody believed me. Right now, people can look at me and are saying, are you pregnant? Like, you're normally like a skinny, itty bitty thing, but your stomach's pretty out there. Like, sorry, like, I'm here alone, but like the windows are open, so like the curtains are flying, and I was like, let me just make sure no one's there. So because this is my 4th pregnancy, my stomach is growing rapidly faster because my body knows what to do. I am extremely hungrier than I recall being with Nala. Like, I recall with Nala, I never wanted a snack. Like, I was like, a snack is like curry chicken and rice for me, or like like, I wanted whole meals with Nala, but I didn't need to eat that often. So that sounds terrible. I obviously ate my 3 meals a day, but it wasn't like I was like always looking for food. And with Nala, like, midnight snacking didn't become a thing until like after 7 months. Right now, I've gotten up a couple times in the middle of the night to eat a whole meal. And I'm just hungry all the time. Like, I'm eating and it doesn't feel like it's ever enough. Sorry, that's the 2nd time. I'm very, very, very gassy. Like, I hope that pregnancy symptom or side effect goes away soon, because like there's just so much gas. Besides that, I don't know if there's any other immediate pregnancy symptoms that I'm going through. I am going to have to probably buy maternity clothes. I didn't have to buy maternity clothes my first time around. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I did get lucky where my cousin gave me some of her pregnancy clothes. But I didn't really need them. Like, my jeans still fit. I did get like a little waist thingy, like the little, I don't know what they're called, a waistband that goes like literally, this might be TMI, but like, as you can see, my pants can't even buckle right now, and I'm only 3 months pregnant. But they make little waistbands from like here to like here, and they go like right over the buckle to keep it flat and like flush, I guess. Don't mind my stomach. But you can get those at Target. That's where I got the one with Nala. I didn't have to buy that till, again, everything for me happened like after 7 months with Nala. So I didn't have to buy that till really late in my pregnancy. It was like $20. It's in my shed now, and I've just been too lazy to walk out and get it and get the maternity bucket. But I'm obviously going to have to get it because I can't walk around with my pants undone everywhere. I have taken I'll show you guys a little trick that I've been doing. But you go like this, you put it in there, go like this, and go like that, and you're all good. You're smooth sailing. But I can only do that for so long. I probably this weekend will make my way into my shed and get the darn thing. But I'm definitely gonna have to buy clothes. So I'm hungry, I'm gassy, my body's growing rapidly. My boobs have gotten really big really fast. I did breastfeed for exactly 3 years. On her 3rd birthday, I cut her off. What is happening here? On her 3rd birthday, I cut her off. And so my boobs, I feel like, are already filling up with milk again, which was a little, like, I thought I'd have my boobs to myself for a little while, but I guess not. So yeah, those are the only pregnancy symptoms. I lied. Round ligament pain is something I have been experiencing. I did not experience that my first time around. So I guess round ligament pain is like if it could feel like pins and needles or like a sharp shooting pain like in your lower abdomen, like pelvic area. It doesn't last very long, but it happens a couple times and then goes away. It feels different than a cramp, but it does feel a little bothersome. And so when I've been getting around ligament pain, I either, if I'm like up and moving around, I just try to sit down for a couple minutes, or I just lay down for a couple minutes. Honestly, this pregnancy, because I am a stay-at-home mom, I'm like, if my body is telling me to sit down or lay down, I'm laying down or I'm sitting down, and whatever I'm doing at that moment can wait. So I have been very good with just putting things on pause and like kicking my feet up. I'm still like trying to keep myself busy, but like once I'm getting little like warning signs or whatever, I'm just taking it easy. So besides those, that's pretty much all of my symptoms for 3 months. So yeah. So I guess I will put out a video every week. I'm not putting this video out yet. So once I put this video out, there will probably be like 4 that go out at the same time. And then from there, I'll put out an update every week. The only reason I'm not putting this video out yet to the world is because there's still people in my circle who I've not told that I'm pregnant yet. I've only told a very select few people, and if you were one of the first to know, great for you. Because I went through my miscarriages and stuff like that, I just wanted to pray, like meditate, like do all the things I personally needed to do separate, with my husband, with my partner and my mom, and like I just needed it to be very peaceful. I didn't need people asking me for updates or anything like that. And it's funny because with Nala, I didn't tell anyone until I was 4 months, and that was just because I didn't get into the doctor till like the end of my 3rd month, because there was like insurance stuff, and like my insurance didn't kick in for a while. So like I was going about my day. My mom had asked me, because I guess I was like denying wine and stuff like that. She like asked me a couple of times. She's like, "Are you pregnant?" It's like, no. So I didn't tell anyone until I was 16 weeks, like exactly 4 months. That's when I called my parents, my sisters, and then we told Facebook, the world, that night. But nobody would have guessed. But people are guessing, and I've been avoiding answering some people just because it's a lot. And like I said, I went through COVID. I've gone through all this testing. There's some prayer and some thoughts and some coaching and talking and stuff that just, there's a lot going on. And so I'm thinking this weekend, we're going to tell everyone in our close circle, out of respect, we're going to give those people a call first. And then at the end of next month, so when I'm 4 months again, then we'll tell the world. So yes. So you guys, I'm making this video diary. I'll put it up. But you guys won't see this for at least 4 more weeks. So by then I'll be out of my first trimester. I'll probably be significantly a month into my 2nd trimester. But I will keep you guys posted on bump updates, on cravings, on symptoms, I'm sorry about my phone, on the testing for the baby, and all things good, bad, indifferent. There's nothing bad about this pregnancy. Let me take that back. I will give you guys an update on all things good and good and unexpected, and maybe a little different, maybe a little bit scary, but there's nothing we can't handle. So if you're watching this because you're pregnant, congrats. If you're watching this just because you're someone in my circle and you follow my blog, thank you for listening to me babble for an hour. And I'll see you next week.